Let me tell you how fast a legacy can get put on the chopping block. Sometimes all it takes is a cheap envelope zip-tied to your fence and a stranger with the wrong kind of smile. I learned that lesson before my first cup of coffee one cold Tuesday, standing at the window of my cabin, steam curling out of my mug as the morning fog hugged the ridge. You ever see something so out of place it stops you mid-sip? That was me watching the mail carrier walk up to my gate instead of just stuffing the box. She zip-tied an envelope right onto the barbed wire like she was delivering a threat, not the usual junk. Curiosity wins every time, so I pulled on my boots, crunched through the frost, and grabbed that envelope. Heavy official county recorder's office, bold letters across the front. Inside, I found the kind of letter that knots your gut and makes you forget what you were even mad about a minute before. Temporary administrative hold. That's what it said. My family's 5,000 acres land I grew up on that my dad and granddad worked with their bare hands was suddenly contested. Just like that, like someone snapped their fingers and rewrote the past. You ever get told you might lose something you thought could never be taken? I just stood there reading that phrase over and over, contested ownership. My head spun. I had everything: the original deed, dusty survey maps, my dad's notarized will, even old hunting permits with dates so faded you could barely make them out. But there I was at the mercy of a stranger's paperwork. Hell, for a second I thought I might throw up. I called the county clerk demanding answers, but got the usual runaround. Someone representing an estate had filed new documents. Nobody wanted to talk straight. That's when the wind picked up a cold, sharp bite that told me change was coming. I spent that night tossing, staring at the ceiling, every creak of the cabin reminding me I might wake up to find it all gone. By sunrise, I tried to distract myself, fed the horses, checked the fence lines, but couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Turns out I wasn't just paranoid. 2 black Jeeps came rolling up the Southern Trail, logos for Iron Bluff Estates slapped on the side, subdivision types, all business casual and bright vests, one guy hauling a drone case like he was about to film a commercial. They acted like they already owned the place, pointing at outbuildings, taking pictures, measuring the earth beneath their feet. That's when I met Karen Stanley. And if you've ever had the pleasure of dealing with a Karen, you know the look: tall, blonde, sunglasses, worth more than my monthly grocery bill, flashing a smile that says she's never been told no. She stuck out her hand, introduced herself, and started rattling off about a will from 1989, naming her late Aunt Mildred Stanley as the rightful owner of my land. I nearly laughed in her face, but all I said was, "You're trespassing." She didn't even blink, just started quoting legalese and promising everything would work out shortly, as if the world's just one big spreadsheet waiting to be balanced. They zip-tied a property under review sign to my own gate before peeling off. My own damn gate. I tore that sign down so fast it nearly ripped the skin off my knuckles. But by then the game was already afoot. Someone, probably Karen herself, had forged a will, filed it through some back channel, and kicked off a hostile claim. And it wasn't about right or wrong. It was about Iron Bluff running out of places to grow my land was the only way forward for them. 2 days later, another envelope. This time a padded one, hand-signed by Janet Brewster, a state representative. Inside, a copy of the so-called will, clean as a preacher's collar, signed and notarized, claiming my grandfather left everything to Mildred Stanley. Never heard of her, never met her, but here she was, suddenly the center of my universe. The signature looked so close to the real thing it sent a chill down my back. But I knew my granddad's handwriting. He never made an S like that, always left a little hitch in the curve. I drove straight to the county office with every bit of proof I owned: deeds, tax records, even an old VHS tape of my dad pointing out the boundaries of the ranch. The officer, Dana, listened, nodded, but told me her hands were tied unless the will was proven false. "It looks authentic," she said. I nearly lost it right there. A couple days after that, more HOA vehicles showed up, this time laying out survey stakes and marking so-called community access points right up on the ridge where my family built our first cabin. I called the sheriff. Deputy Nash came by, listened, shrugged, said, as long as there was no obvious damage, it was all civil, not criminal. In other words, good luck. Hope you brought a lawyer. Next, the utility crews showed up, digging trenches 6 feet into my property, waving forms about provisional updates and infrastructure for future community expansion. Bureaucratic war, and they were winning inch by inch, form by form. I tried to fight fire with fire. Hired Thomas Delaney, a bulldog attorney who practically growled when I told him my story. We pored over every document, called in experts, hired a forensic graphologist. Expensive, you bet. But when someone tries to steal your life, you pay what you have to. Meanwhile, Karen's folks kept pushing, brought in a field office trailer, planted their own damn flag, and started sending compliance notices to my mailbox. One morning, I watched a parade of investors stroll across my lower pasture, nodding like they were already picking curtains. I walked right up to them, asked if they liked the view. "Oh, are you the caretaker?" one of them asked. I just said, "No, I'm the owner." He looked confused, like nobody told him the war wasn't over yet. Word spread, meetings, flyers at the feed store, articles in the local paper touting sustainable expansion. My land renamed, rebranded, even the pond called Mildred Lake. But nothing topped the spray paint giant neon letters, "Vacate," smeared across the side of one of our cabins. Tried everything to clean it, but some stains just stick around, don't they? That's when things broke open. The experts came back. Karen's will was a joke. The paper didn't exist in '89, the notary had been barred for fraud, and the signature was a digital paste from an old check. The county finally moved. Fraud investigation cease and desist, and Karen came out swinging anyway, filed to evict me from my own house. I laughed, but that laugh turned to stone in my throat. She was serious, and the law moved slow as mud. Turns out Karen had a friend on the inside, someone at the records office greasing the paperwork. We tracked it all: filings, computer logins, timestamps. One name kept popping up: her assistant's husband. That was enough for the fraud division. State investigators got involved quietly, the way wolves stalk a wounded animal. Still, Karen doubled down, staged a stakeholder preview event right on my land, complete with folding chairs, a food truck, banners, and a whole speech about legacy land. That's when it all unraveled: state investigators, sheriff's deputies, everyone with a badge showing up at once. Karen tried to keep the show going, but the crowd turned, and when they handed her the official charges in front of everyone, she froze for the first time. All that poise gone like steam off a kettle. And let me tell you, nothing tastes sweeter than watching a bully realize the game is up. They cuffed her right there, took her away, left her Range Rover sitting empty, doors open to the mountain air. Court moved fast for once. Fraud, forgery, impersonation, she racked up charges like a bad gambler on a losing streak. The judge, bless her, didn't mince words. She called it the most audacious land grab she'd ever seen. 12 years, no parole. HOA, dissolved assets frozen. The phony marshal and the assistant went down too, one turning witness, the other trying to hide behind fake credentials. But what stuck with me most wasn't the paperwork or the headlines. It was standing on my land that evening, pouring a shot of bourbon as the sun went down over the ridge. Quiet the way it should be. No more strangers, no more lies. I put up a new sign at the gate: private land. Not for sale, not for claim, not for taking. Underneath, a copper plaque with the judge's words, "One of the most audacious attempts at land theft in state history." And it failed. That's the thing about land out here: it's got roots deeper than any title or deed. It holds memory, sweat loss. And sometimes if you stand your ground, it'll hold justice too. So let me ask you, what would you have done? If someone tried to wipe out your whole family's legacy with one forged will and a few slick words, would you have fought? Or would you have let the world move on? Figured it was too late to care? I want to know. Tell me your line in the sand, the thing you'd never let anyone take. Drop your thoughts below, or better yet, share your own stories, because out here, legacy's all we've got, and it's worth fighting for.